Well, here we are, the first big day of the big dance. Now, I know, of course, we had the play-in games, but hey, I don't really count them. Although last night's between Rutgers and Notre Dame was certainly a barn burner, the double overtime win by the Irish. But today the big action gets underway, and I certainly hope by now you have filled out your brackets and you took advantage of all the brackets here by the Handicappers being posted at the site on Monday, as I've done for the past decade or so. I've always said that as a handicapper, we have an inherent advantage over everybody out there, you included watching this, because we have been following all the college basketball teams since November, not just the Power Five teams, not only the named teams in college hoops, but all the minor league conferences as well. And when you're filling out a bracket, if in my estimation, you don't have at least 24 or 25, maybe even 26 teams coming out of the first round going forward in your bracket, you've got no chance of winning any type of bracket pool. Thus, you've got to cash in on those middle tier games, if you know what I mean, in the middle of the bracket in that first round. And that's where your knowledge of the smaller conferences and those pairings comes into play. And it also factors in to handicapping games as well. You know, I often tell those that are going out and betting on their own without using professional advice that if you haven't followed the Ohio Valley Conference, the Sun Belt Conference, Conference USA, American East Conference, etc., you have no idea about those teams that are representing those conferences in the opening round. Don't bet those games because you don't have any idea what you're doing. Don't even look at those point spreads because you're more often than not going to get bludgeoned. That's just the way it is. We, however, have been watching those teams since November. That doesn't guarantee we're going to win, but our odds are certainly better than yours. That's the bottom line. So, with that being said, let's take a look at some complimentary plays here for the first day of action. I'm on a 43-22 run with the free plays, and let's run these in reverse chronological order. Starting with a game from two smaller conferences, especially the Ohio Valley Conference, which is where Murray State hails from, taking on San Francisco from the West Coast Conference. Now, the West Coast Conference is one that I used many times this year, especially with Gonzaga, which made me a lot of money, St. Mary's, San Francisco, etc. Murray State coming into this contest, which is being played in Indianapolis tonight with the second longest winning streak in D1 ball at 20 games, taking on a San Francisco team that was so competitive this year, a veteran-oriented team, a three-guard lineup team. But San Francisco is going to be without its only big man. That is productive, shall we say. Now, if I could pronounce his name, that's another question. I'm not even going to try to butcher it. But the bottom line, he's a first-team all-conference performer, 13.5 points, a team-leading 9.4 rebounds and 2.2 blocks a game. He missed the West Coast Conference tournament, and he re-injured his knee in Monday's practice, and he is out for this game. That is going to be problematic tonight because Murray State's best player is KJ Williams, the Ohio Valley Conference Player of the Year, 18.2 points, 8.6 rebounds. Now, Murray State is not a big team, okay? They are not a very good rebounding team as well. So that is going to neutralize in this matchup one of San Francisco's biggest advantages coming in. They no longer really have it. Murray State, the Racers, they're not really the Racers, to be honest with you, because they actually like to play a slow down-tempo game, a lot of half-court sets. That does play into San Francisco's hand, being a three-guard lineup team that plays very good, efficient ball. Murray State's a very poor free throw shooting team, a little under 70% for the season. No doubt San Francisco played a much tougher schedule here than Murray State, whose only really two big non-conference games maybe were against Auburn and East Tennessee State. I mean, yeah, they beat Memphis early in the season, but that's before Memphis really started playing well. But all things considered, listen, even though this is a team, San Francisco, that played very well out of conference, I still like Murray State here in this spot because of the injury to San Francisco's big man. So I'm going to lay the 2 points and go with Murray State. Another game on the night card being played in Buffalo. I'm going to go with Arkansas, a team that I backed a hell of a lot this season, a team that at one point going into its season finale against Tennessee had won 14 out of 15 games. Now, it lost that game against the Volunteers, looked close in the final score, but actually they were getting blown out for the majority. Won its SEC tournament opener, but then got destroyed by Texas A&M by 18 points. Taking on Vermont, a team that closed with 8 straight wins, a team that destroyed everybody in the American East tournament. Vermont is one of those teams that, everybody likes to talk about going into the tournament. It's one of those teams that, I don't want to say it's like a destiny pick, but it's one of those teams that the public kind of gets enamored with. Well, I got news for you. There's the American East, and then there's the SEC. Yeah. Come on, seriously? I mean, okay, Arkansas didn't play that well on the road this year. Well, yeah, because Arkansas was going to Alabama, Arkansas was going to LSU, Arkansas was going to Knoxville, Arkansas was going to Lexington. Vermont, who the hell did Vermont play this year? End of story. I'll lay the 5 points with Arkansas, and let's move on. I mean, seriously, I really don't have anything more to say about that game. On the mid-afternoon card, back to the West Coast Conference, Gonzaga is a 23.5 point favorite in Portland. Gee, could you give it a more, well, listen, when you're the number 1 seed, shoot, you deserve to play almost in your backyard. Gonzaga is playing in Portland. They're taking on Georgia State. Georgia State has won 10 straight. Yeah, they're a tough, gritty defensive team that doesn't have a lot of size. And I know Gonzaga didn't exactly cover a lot of games down the stretch. And I know Gonzaga struggled against St. Mary's. And I know Gonzaga didn't cover against San Francisco as well. But this is Georgia State, okay? Georgia State, a team that I think out of 350 Division I teams was like 342nd rank in field goal percentage, a team that was in the 270s in terms of their three-point field goal percentage this year, a team that is got no answers for 7-foot freshman center Chet Holmgren. Yeah, I'll lay the 23.5 points, but with this caveat. Gonzaga plays up-tempo the whole game. They never take their foot off the accelerator. They don't play a lot of defense either. But I still got to go with Gonzaga in this game. I like the Cougars in this game, and I'm going to lay the 23.5 points with them and not look back there. So, of these selections, which ones do I like the most? Well, that's interesting. I still think that I would rank them in the exact order that I gave them to you. Murray State number 1, Arkansas number 2, Gonzaga number 3. That'll do it. I wish you well, guys, and good luck with your brackets, too. Talk to you again soon.